There's one thought that, once fully grasped, transforms everything you have ever believed about life, success, relationships, and your place in this world. This single realization has the power to shift you from victim to victor, from reactor to creator, from someone who begs life for scraps to someone who commands reality itself. You are about to meet a truth so simple most people skip past it, yet so strong it sits behind every miracle, every lasting change, every big turning point. The world you see is not separate from you. Life is not happening to you from the outside while you stand there with no control. What you meet each day is your inner state showing up on the surface. People, events, and conditions mirror what you carry inside. This is the one thought that changes everything. You are not small and trapped inside a fixed world. The world you move through is shaped by you. Look at your life right now. Every relationship is reflecting what you believe about your own worth and what you think love is. Every money situation is echoing your inner picture of supply and value. Every challenge shows where your mind and heart are still divided and need order. Think of it like a simple screen and a projector. The screen is the outer world. The projector is your inner world. The picture on the screen cannot change until the film inside changes. If you try to wipe or repaint the screen while leaving the film untouched, the same picture returns again and again. Once you see this, blame does not fit anymore. The role of a victim falls away. Feeling powerless becomes something you used to do before you understood your authority. Your assumptions build the life you experience. An assumption is not a passing wish. It is the quiet position you take about yourself, about others, and about how life treats you. It is the lens through which everything comes into focus. If you assume you are unlucky, life will hand you a long list of examples that seem to prove it. If you assume you are loved, love meets you in ordinary places. If you assume you are provided for, resources move toward you the way water runs downhill. Ancient wisdom says, as above, so below, as within, so without. Your outer world is a clear print of your inner world. Each result you see started as a belief, a tone of feeling, a steady thought you held. People enter your life because the state you live in calls them in. Doors open or stay closed in a way that fits the mood and story you hold about yourself. Obstacles are not random. They match the tension and doubt inside. So do opportunities. This is why changing things outside without changing what you are sure of on the inside does not last. You cannot build a new house with an old plan. You cannot carry a mindset of lack and expect abundance to rest with you. You cannot pull in a healthy bond while telling yourself you are unworthy and must settle. The plan must change before the walls can rise. The inner picture must be updated before the outer room can look different. Most of us have been doing it backwards. We try to move the pieces on the table while keeping the same rules in our head. We polish the mirror while ignoring the face in front of it. We work harder on the reflection than on the source. When you reverse this, life begins to flow. When you give your inner state a new order, the outer world lines up. When you rebuild the way you assume, the scene around you rearranges to match. This is not about pretending. It is about choosing a steady inner position and living from it. An assumption held with faith becomes the pattern the day follows. Think of faith in a simple way. Faith is not wishful thinking. Faith is moving as if the outcome is already yours. Faith is walking like the ground is solid and finding it solid under your feet. When the inside is settled, the outside cooperates. This also means you hold a new kind of responsibility, not heavy, but honest. You cannot keep pointing at other people or at luck or at the past to explain your whole life. You cannot make someone else carry your peace or your joy for you. You are the author. That is not a burden. It is freedom. If the script came from your inner assumptions, you can write a new scene by choosing a new assumption and standing in it long enough for the picture to catch up. Look at a few areas right now. If someone keeps treating you poorly, ask what you believe about your value that allows it. If chances keep passing by, ask what you think you deserve and what level you secretly expect. If love keeps feeling far away, ask whether you assume love is scarce or unsafe. Change the assumption and you change the pattern. Repair the belief and you repair the result. This is the invitation. Start at the cause, not the effect. Begin with the state, not the scene. Speak to your inner world the way a leader speaks to a team. Give it clear orders. Choose a clean sentence you can live from, one that places you under wisdom and peace. Simple words, said with feeling and repeated, set the tone of the day. Your word carries weight. It directs attention. It tells your mind where to stand and teaches your body how to act. Understand how practical this is. Every day you are placing orders with life through what you assume to be true about yourself. Your tone of thought is an instruction. Your steady story becomes a schedule. Shift the story and the schedule changes. This is not theory. It is how experience arranges itself around you. The outer picture is patient. It waits for the inner choice, and then it follows. Let the one thought take root. The world you meet is your inner life printed in front of you. Hold it long enough to see small proofs. Notice how a calm choice changes a conversation. Notice how a firm decision about your worth shifts the way someone responds. Notice how a quiet trust brings the right help at the right hour. These are not lucky breaks. They are signals that the projector is playing a new film and the screen is catching up. The outside world is your inside world made visible. Think of that for a moment. What you see around you is not some force acting on you from a distance. It is your own consciousness turned outward where you can look at it. The people in your day, the tone of your conversations, the chances that appear or seem to vanish, all of it is a picture of what you have been holding within. When this really lands, blame no longer makes sense. If the world is showing you your own inner state, then pointing at others cannot fix the picture. Victimhood stops fitting. Feeling powerless becomes something you used to feel before you understood the cause behind the effects. You begin to see that your life is answering the posture you take inside, again and again with great accuracy. Assumptions are building your experience. An assumption is not loud. It is the quiet setting underneath your thoughts and actions. It is what you take for granted about who you are, how people treat you, and what life usually does with you. If you assume you are unlucky, life will hand you example after example that seems to confirm it. If you assume you are loved, love will meet you in ways both small and surprising. If you assume you live under steady supply, resources move in your direction with less strain. Ancient wisdom says, as above, so below, as within, so without. Your outer world is a faithful print of your inner world. Every condition you can point to began as an inner stance, a picture, a feeling you return to many times. People who show up in your path are not random. They are called in by the state you live in. Obstacles and delays match your doubts. Open doors match your decision and your trust. Life is not punishing you or rewarding you at random. Life is mirroring you. This is why changing only the outside does not hold. It is futile to shuffle pieces in your circumstances while leaving your inner map the same. You cannot build a mansion from plans for a shack. You cannot enjoy true abundance while carrying a steady picture of lack. You cannot draw a clear and kind love while quietly assuming you are unworthy and must settle. The blueprint decides the building. The inner decides the outer. Most of us try to fix the reflection while ignoring the source. We stand in front of the mirror and polish the glass, but the face in front of it stays the same, so the smudge returns. We rearrange furniture in the room while the foundation under the house is still cracked. We try a new tactic with the same old belief. The results may move for a moment, but the pattern soon resets because the root did not change. Reverse the process, and you reverse the results. Begin with the inner state. Choose what you will assume about yourself and about life, and hold it long enough for it to become familiar. Then the outer scene begins to match it. When you change the blueprint, the walls rise a new way. When you update the film, the picture on the screen changes even if the screen itself never moved. This is not magic in a vague sense. It is how experience follows consciousness in very ordinary hours. Look at simple areas of life. If you go into a meeting assuming you are small and your ideas do not matter, the room often treats you that way. If you enter assuming your voice carries value and that you bring clarity, people lean in more. If you assume that money is scarce, you will notice bills and miss chances. If you assume that supply finds you, you will notice openings and you will be ready to step through them. If you assume relationships are risky and love leaves, you will pull back and read threat in neutral faces and then feel proven right. If you assume love is safe and you are worthy of it, your tone softens, your timing improves, and the other person often meets you there. None of this asks you to pretend. It asks you to pick a steady inner position and live from it. Living from an assumption means feeling what you would feel if it were already true, and letting that feeling guide your words and choices. It means acting in simple ways that match the end you have chosen, not the old story. It means speaking to yourself and to your day from the new place. Over time, the new setting becomes normal, and then the outer picture has no choice but to keep up. Responsibility grows here, but it is a light kind of responsibility. It is not about guilt, it is about power. If the scene is a printout of your inner file, then you can choose a new file. You can quiet a scattered mind and choose order. You can stop repeating low worth in your own words and begin to speak value. You can stop waiting to feel safe until life behaves and instead carry safety inside and watch how life begins to reflect it. This is not a quick trick. It is a way to live. It is steady. It is practical. Use the simple picture of a projector and a screen. The projector is your inner life. The screen is the day in front of you. If the image is harsh or dull, you do not scrub the screen. You change the frame and the projector. You clean the lens. You adjust the focus. Then the image improves. The same is true of a mirror. You do not argue with the reflection. You change the expression, and the reflection changes because it must. You might ask how long it takes. The better question is how steady you can be. A new assumption held for a few minutes once a week will not outgrow an old assumption rehearsed for years. But a new assumption chosen each morning, returned to through the day, and acted from in small ways begins to gain weight. The moment it becomes the tone you live in, the world catches up with surprising speed. Let this be very practical. Begin noticing the story under your reactions. When you feel jealousy, perhaps the story is that there is not enough. When you feel fear, perhaps the story is that you are alone. When you feel small, Perhaps the story is that value must be earned and can be taken away. Name the story, and you can pick a better one. The better story is not grand. It is clear and repeatable. It says you are guided, you are provided for, you are loved, and you act like it. From that place, you speak with more care, you set cleaner boundaries, you choose better timing, and your day rises to meet you. This is the simple law running through your life. Inner first, outer next. Assumption first, experience next. If you want a new result, stop working on the reflection and start working on the cause. Change the blueprint, and the house cannot help but follow. Change the film, and the scene on the screen must change too. When you start at the source, change becomes normal. You do not push the river, you turn the spring. When the inner picture is new, the outer scene has to follow. This is why people call some results miracles. From the outside, it looks sudden. From the inside, it was simply the day catching up with a steady inner choice. A well-known story shows this in plain form. In the mid-1980s, before fame and money, Jim Carrey wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services, dated it for a day in the future, and kept it in his wallet. Many repeat this story because it is easy to picture. But the paper check was not the power. The power was the state he chose and lived in. He did not just hope to be a working actor. He began to move, think, and speak as a person whose work already had that kind of value. He used the check as a reminder to return to that inner position. By 1994, a year before the date he had written, he was offered $10 million for the film Dumb and Dumber. The outer matched the inner. The amount and the timing line up so clearly that the lesson is hard to miss. This was not blind luck, and it was not empty wishing. It was an assumption held with faith and fed by simple, steady action. He carried a picture inside and kept acting from it before the world reflected it. That is what an assumption does when it is alive. It writes a script your hours begin to follow. Use that idea in your own life. Align your mind and words with the result you choose, and keep that alignment simple. Say this out loud until it feels natural. I am always under divine inspiration and create only perfect conditions in my life. You are not forcing reality. You are setting your inner order and letting the day obey that order. Words help because they anchor attention. They call your feelings into line. They remind your body how to move. Do not think of reality as a stone wall. Think of it as soft clay. The scene you see is responsive. It takes shape from the mold inside you. Circumstances are not a prison. They are a printout. You are not stuck with yesterday's file unless you keep opening it. You can choose a new file. You can choose a new tone. You can choose a new end and live from it now. This is what faith means in simple terms. Scripture says, "Be it unto you according to your faith." Faith is not waiting and hoping. Faith is assuming a thing is already yours and letting that assumption guide your steps. Faith is living from the end result rather than staring at present problems. It shows up in small choices. You send the message, make the call, prepare the room, speak the idea, and you do it with the calm of a person who already belongs where they are heading. That calm is not fake. It is a decision. It is the inner ground under your feet. You can see this pattern across great lives. Many people who built large results did it by living from a clear inner picture, long before others could see it. They felt worthy before the world nodded. They carried the mood of success before the proof arrived. They treated opportunities as normal because they had already made room for them inside. That inner room is what made the outer visit possible. Think of Abraham, the ancient example often quoted. He was old. His wife was barren. The facts did not add up, yet he walked as a man of promise. He spoke as a father before he could hold a child. He looked up at the stars and counted what was not yet visible. In simple words, he made a home inside for what he had been told was his. The story says he called things that were not as though they were. When the inner home is ready, the guest has a place to arrive. Bring this home to your day. If you want better work, begin by assuming your ideas carry weight and that your time is valuable. Let that assumption shape how you plan your hours, how you speak in meetings, how you follow through. If you want more money, assume that supply has channels to find you and that your skills produce value for others. Then learn, ship, and show up from that steady place. If you want a kinder relationship, assume you are safe and worthy, and let that soften your tone and clarify your boundaries. In each case, the assumption guides action and action confirms the assumption, and the loop strengthens. Keep your language clear and kind. Speak to yourself in sentences you can remember on a busy day. I am guided. I am provided for. I am loved. I carry peace. I act with courage. These are not slogans to decorate a wall. They are handles your mind can grab when old feelings try to pull you back. Repeat them when you wake, on the way to work, before a hard call, when you feel doubt. Repetition is not magic. It is training. You are training your state to hold the line long enough for the picture to update. If you notice pushback, do not panic. Old patterns often argue when they are being replaced. That is normal. Answer once with your chosen sentence, then behave as if it is true and return to your task. Do not wrestle with the mirror. Straighten your collar and move on. The new tone will settle in if you keep walking it out. Remember the order of operations: inner first, outer next, assumption first, experience next. The world you meet is flexible. It is not fixed against you. It is waiting for your lead. Give it a clean lead. Write a simple end in your heart and live from it. The day will catch up. The world is not fixed. Reality is not permanent. Circumstances are not carved in stone. What you see around you is changeable and responsive. It moves under the pressure of consciousness. You are not trapped by the past, and you are not defined by today's problems. You are the architect of what comes next, and your assumptions are the drawings you build from. Scripture says, "Be it unto you according to your faith." Take that in the most practical way. Faith is not waiting with your fingers crossed. Faith is assuming a thing is already yours and letting that assumption set your tone, your choices, and your pace. Faith does not stare at current facts and despair. Faith lives from the end and lets today line up step by step. When you walk like the ground is solid, you find solid ground beneath your feet. This is the simple rule behind change. Your inner posture comes first. The outer scene follows. When you keep assuming loss, you move and speak from fear. You pull back at the wrong times, and life reflects that. When you assume steady good, your words calm down, your actions have order, and doors that match that order begin to open. The world answers your state with surprising accuracy. Every person who ever did great work followed this law, whether they could name it or not. They carried the mood of success before success showed up. They treated opportunities as normal because they had already made room for them inside. They felt worthy before anyone agreed. When the inner room was prepared, the guest had a place to arrive. What looks like luck from the outside is often just a prepared state meeting its match. Think of faith in simple pictures. You set a table before the guest arrives because you expect them. You clean the room because you are sure someone will use it. You write the speech because you expect to deliver it. You rehearse the song because you expect to sing it on stage. You do not wait for proof before you prepare. You prepare because the end is already real to you inside. That is what "be it unto you according to your faith" looks like on an ordinary day. The story of Abraham shows the same pattern in clear form. He was old. Sarah was barren. The facts said impossible. Yet he walked like a man of promise. He called himself what he had been told he would be before he could hold the proof in his arms. He looked at the stars and counted what could not yet be seen. He lived from a settled inner outcome. The old words say, "He called those things which be not as though they were." In plain terms, he carried the finished picture within him and let his life move under that picture. When the inner acceptance was firm, the outer promise had somewhere to land. This does not mean you ignore facts or take reckless steps. It means you let the end you have chosen steady your feelings and guide your actions. You still learn, plan, and do the next right thing, but you do it from peace, not from panic. You shape your calendar under a clear assumption. You speak from that assumption. You keep returning to it when the day tries to pull you back into old habits. The pull will come. Old settings argue on their way out. Notice the noise. Answer once with your chosen end and keep moving. The end you hold becomes the path you walk. See how gentle this can be. If you assume you are guided, you start to notice timely ideas and helpful people. If you assume you are provided for, you stop clutching and start preparing, and supply meets that preparation. If you assume love is possible and safe, your tone softens, your timing improves, and the other person can finally meet the real you. None of this is pretending. It is choosing a steady inner place and living from it long enough for the picture to match. Reality is more like wet clay than a brick wall. It takes shape from the mold inside you. Today is flexible in your hands when your hands are steady. Your job is the steadiness. Hold the end like a compass. Let your words agree with it. Let your steps agree with it. If you get shaken, return to it with a single, clear sentence you can remember when you are tired. I am guided. I am provided for. I am loved. I have peace. Say it softly. Breathe. Then do the next plain thing that matches it. Do not make faith complicated. Faith is a habit of assuming good and acting from it. It is a daily stance, not a dramatic moment. It is a quiet choice you repeat until it becomes your normal. Most change is not fireworks. It is a series of steady answers to the same old questions, given from a new place, until the questions stop coming because the state has changed. From here, the lesson turns very direct. The change you want does not begin outside you. It begins in your consciousness. The tools are not far away or rare. They are the assumptions you hold and the words you keep. When you choose them on purpose and keep them with patience, the world around you learns a new rhythm and follows your lead. Your consciousness is the one thing you truly need to change. Your assumptions are the tools that let you do it. Your inner world is the only kingdom you are called to rule. When you take that seat, your outer life starts to answer with new order. With this understanding comes a clear kind of responsibility. You can no longer point to luck, to other people, or to the past as the main reason your life feels the way it feels. You cannot hand someone else the keys to your peace or your purpose. You do not wait for the world to behave before you feel whole. You decide who you are inside and let the world follow. This is not a heavy burden. It is freedom. When you stop blaming and start choosing, you discover power you did not know you had. If the scene around you is a printout of the state within you, then new scenes become possible the moment you change the file. If the tone of a room is echoing your inner tone, then you can set a new tone and watch the echo change. If patterns have repeated for years because an old belief kept calling them back, then a new belief held with patience can retire those patterns and make room for better ones. Think of a simple moment. Someone speaks to you with disrespect. In the old way, you might rehearse the injury, tell the story to yourself, and let it become proof that people always treat you this way. In the new way, you check your stance. What do you believe about your value? Where are you still assuming that you must earn worth or accept poor treatment to keep the peace? You correct the stance first. You speak calmly and clearly. You set a clean boundary. You carry yourself as a person who is already valuable and already safe. Over time, the outer world meets that posture. The faces may change, but the mirror remains true. A steady inner upgrade creates a steady outer upgrade. The same rule applies to money. If your inner story says there is never enough and that provision comes by struggle alone, then the outer scene will keep handing you shortage and strain. If you replace that story with a quiet assumption that you add real value, that your skills grow, and that supply has many channels to find you, then you study, you deliver, you ask, and you notice openings. The actions are simple, but the state behind them is new. That state is what the world answers. Love answers the same way. If you assume love is scarce or unsafe, you brace, you test, you predict loss, and your behavior starts to create the very distance you fear. If you assume love is possible and you are worthy of it, your tone softens, your timing improves, you tell the truth earlier, and you choose better. The outer story catches up with the inner one because the inner one now has enough weight to shape your choices. This moment is an invitation to act, not a grand act, a simple one. In the comments, write this sentence and mean it with steady breath. Divine intelligence works through me to create my perfect world. Write it slowly. See what it asks of you. This is not a trick. It is a public promise to yourself. When you write it, you are saying that you have woken up to your side of the partnership between you and life. You are saying that you accept the role of a conscious creator, not a passive character. You are saying that from this day you will participate in shaping your reality instead of living by default. Do not underestimate this line. Words focus your attention. They set your inner order. They anchor the feeling you are choosing. When you speak a clean sentence and repeat it, you are training your nervous system to live in that place. You are teaching your mind what to notice and your body how to move. You are opening a channel for guidance to reach you in ordinary ways. A quiet idea at the right time. A person you would have missed before. A step that seemed too simple yesterday now looks like the next right thing. Responsibility in this light is not harsh. It is kind. It tells you that nothing is final until you decide it is final inside. It tells you that a bad week is a snapshot, not a sentence. It tells you that even long-standing patterns came from an inner loop, which means they can be replaced by a better loop. It tells you that you do not need permission to begin. You can begin now with one clear assumption and one clear line that you will hold through the noise of the day. You might feel a pull to argue with this. Old habits will try to make the outer scene the cause again. They will tell you that your boss, your bank account, your history, or your family story decides who you are allowed to be. Listen for that voice and then answer once. Say gently to yourself, I choose the cause, not the effect. I set my inner order first. I let the day follow. You do not need to fight the old voice. You need to starve it. Starve it by feeding the new voice more often. Feed it in the morning. feed it at noon. Feed it before sleep. Let repetition do quiet work. Notice how different your choices become when you carry this responsibility with peace. You take care of your energy. You speak less, but with more weight. You prepare without drama. You let small irritations pass. You give thanks for small proofs. You forgive faster, not because the past was fine, but because you refuse to let it write your next chapter. You become simpler and stronger at the same time. People can feel it. Opportunities feel it too. The point is not to control everything. The point is to hold a clean inner center and act from it. That is the kind of control that frees you. The fresh outer results are not forced. They are answers to a new state. They arrive because you finally created a place inside where they belong. That is why this responsibility is joy. It returns your power to you in a form you can use today. Hold the sentence you wrote as a daily anchor. Say it before hard calls. Say it when you feel the old story start to spin. Say it when you are tempted to check the mirror instead of fix the face. Divine intelligence works through me to create my perfect world. Let it be quiet and steady. Let it move your feet. The more you live from it, the more life will echo it back to you. From here, the principle sharpens even more. What you assume is not just a mood, it is a command. Every belief you keep is an instruction you are sending to life about what to bring next. The quality of your life is tied to the quality of your assumptions. Assumptions are not harmless thoughts that pass by. They are the quiet commands that go out ahead of you. Every assumption you hold is like placing an order with life. Every belief you keep tells reality what to deliver next. If you assume rejection, you start noticing closed doors, and you walk like someone who expects them. If you assume welcome, you notice openings, and you carry yourself like a person who belongs. The result follows the order. This is easy to see when you look at people who built very large results. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a clear example. He was born in a small town in Austria. His father was a police chief. On paper, nothing pointed to a path that would lead to world titles, hit movies, and public office in another country. Yet he formed 3 strong assumptions. He would become the greatest bodybuilder in the world. He would become a Hollywood star. He would one day serve in high office. Others heard his accent and saw limits. He decided his accent and his background were part of his edge. He treated what looked like weakness as a feature. Then he lived from those assumptions. He trained like a champion before he was one. He learned the business of film before he had a big role. He kept moving toward rooms he had already claimed inside. Because he assumed his goals were normal for him, he did the steady work that matched them. Titles came, roles came, later votes came. From Mr. Olympia to leading roles to the governor's office, the outer story lined up with the inner position he held for years. This is not a story about luck. It is a story about a state held long enough to shape choices, attract fitting chances, and build proof. The world around him mirrored his stance. Life reflected what he kept assuming about himself. What he sent out through his steady inner position returned to him in the form of matching results. It is like shouting into a canyon. The echo answers with the same word you gave it. Change the word, and the echo changes. But there is a part many people miss. Assumptions have to be lived, not just thought once in a while. You cannot sit on Sunday and assume abundance, then spend the week acting like shortage is your master. You cannot assume love in a quiet moment and then let fear write your tone in every conversation. You cannot assume success in prayer and then sabotage your work by hiding, delaying, and speaking against yourself. If you want a new echo, you have to send a new sound again and again until it is the only sound you send. Living from an assumption is simple, not complicated. You feel what you would feel if it were already true. You act as you would act from that place. You speak as you would speak if the result had already arrived. If you assume abundance, you relax your grip. You plan with calm. You invest in your growth. You deliver value. You let money be a tool rather than a fear. If you assume you are loved and safe, your voice softens. You tell the truth earlier. You set cleaner boundaries. You stop testing and start relating. If you assume success, you show up on time, you finish, you ask for the next level without apology, and you treat wins as normal rather than rare. This is not pretending. It is choosing a daily stance and keeping it. At first, the old setting will try to pull you back. You may hear thoughts that argue. Answer once with your chosen end and move on. The point is not to fight the mirror. The point is to fix the face and let the mirror report the change in its own time. When your new assumption becomes your normal, your choices match it without strain, and the results start to match those choices with the same lack of strain. You do not need grand gestures. You need a steady tone. A steady tone shows up in small things. It shows up when you return one email you would have avoided. It shows up when you ask for the fee that matches your value. It shows up when you sit at the table and speak once, clearly, instead of explaining yourself 10 times. It shows up when you let something good stay good without waiting for it to fail. These quiet moves are proof that your inner order has shifted. Life notices and adjusts. Remember the line that keeps this practical. What you assume is an instruction. If you hold the old instruction, the old pattern repeats. If you hold a new instruction and keep it through the day, the pattern changes. Your hours begin to behave like your belief. Your rooms begin to reflect your posture. Your results begin to follow your lead. Hold the lead long enough, and it becomes obvious to everyone, including you, that the inner order came first and the outer answer followed. Assumptions are not ideas you visit once and forget. They are the place you live from. To live from an assumption means you let it set your mood, your words, and your steps, as if the result were already yours. You feel what you would feel if it were finished. You choose like someone who already stands in that finish. You speak from that ground. When you hold that ground through ordinary hours, your day begins to arrange itself around it. This is the plain meaning of faith. Faith is not crossing your fingers and waiting. Faith is moving as if the answer is present now. It is the calm you carry when you have decided who you are and where you belong. You send the message, you take the seat, you prepare the table, and you do it without drama, because inside the matter is settled. Your outer life learns this new rhythm and starts to match it. Scripture says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." The heart is where your deepest assumptions sit. It is the quiet setting beneath your thoughts, the story you keep telling yourself about your worth, your safety, and what life is like. Heart-level assumptions do not stay hidden. They rise into words, they guide habits, and they shape results with steady accuracy. If the heart assumes you are not enough, the day will show scenes that seem to agree. If the heart assumes you are guided and worthy, the day will offer proof of that too. There is another line that makes this even clearer. Before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. This does not mean the world is waiting for perfect speeches. It means the answer already exists in the field of possibility, and your steady inner stance is what allows it to land. You do not chase the answer. You make a place inside where the answer belongs. When that place is built, the response shows at the right hour. Your life keeps returning what you truly assume, not what you casually wish. Assumptions are magnetic. They draw people, moments, and choices that match them. If you assume betrayal, you look for signs and you tense your tone. And soon you collect stories that seem to prove you right. If you assume loyalty, you act in ways that invite trust. You set clean terms, and faithful people show up and stay. If you assume lack, you focus on shortage and miss openings. If you assume provision, you prepare, you notice doors, and you walk through them. The world is not judging you, it is echoing you. Living from your assumption is practical. If you assume you are valuable, you stop over-explaining and you start delivering value. You give your word and keep it. You ask for fair pay. You improve your skill because you expect to be useful at a higher level. If you assume you are safe in love, you stop testing and you start being clear. You say what you mean. You listen without trying to catch the other person failing. That calm changes the air in the room. If you assume your health can improve, you stop telling the old story and you start doing small, consistent things that match the new story. You drink water, you sleep on time, you move your body, and you speak well of it. These are not tricks. They are the natural actions of someone who has chosen a new inner ground. Do not confuse this with pretending. Pretending tries to cover fear. Living from the end dissolves fear because the end is already chosen. Pretending is a mask that slips. Living from the end is a decision that holds. You will still hear old thoughts for a while. They will try to pull you back into the former state. Let them pass. Return to one clear sentence that sums up your chosen end and speak it softly. Then do the next ordinary thing that agrees with it. The power is in the return. Each return lays another stone in the new foundation until it is the only place you stand. Watch how small proofs start to appear. A conversation that used to spiral now settles because you did not enter it from panic. An email you would have avoided is answered and leads to help. A bill that would have set you off is handled step by step without the old story of doom. These are early signs that your inner order is taking root. Do not rush them. Thank them. Keep going. Your words are part of this work because they steady your attention. When you speak a clean line, you teach your nervous system where to rest. Choose lines you can carry through a busy day. I am guided. I am provided for. I am loved. I have peace. Speak them when you wake. Speak them in the car. Speak them before hard tasks. You are not trying to force life. You are training your state. A trained state draws matching scenes. You may wonder when the big change arrives. The better question is how consistent you can be in the small things. A few intense minutes cannot outweigh years of habit, but a simple stance, kept morning and night, begins to outweigh the past. The moment the new stance becomes your normal, results begin to look normal too. What used to feel rare feels expected. Opportunities do not surprise you. They fit. Living from your assumptions also cleans up your boundaries. When you stand in worth, you stop arguing for it. When you stand in peace, you stop chasing chaos. When you stand in trust, you stop testing everyone around you. People feel that change. Some will fall away because the old pattern no longer finds a match in you. Others will draw closer because you are finally easy to stand beside. Let both movements happen. You are not losing control. You are gaining order. Hold this picture. You are the one who sets the inner weather. The day will check your sky and mirror it back to you. Set a clear sky often enough, and storms lose their grip. Set a clear sky before the meeting, before the phone call, before you sit with someone you love. Your tone, your patience, your timing, and your words will show that you have already moved into the answer you chose. The outer will follow because it must. Working on yourself is not a side project. It is the most practical work you can do. When you strengthen your inner state, every area of life benefits. When you change the assumptions you live from, results move more directly than with any trick or tactic. Trying to push the outside while leaving the inside the same wastes energy. Building consciousness first pays you back everywhere because the same state runs through all your hours. Think of how much time people spend trying to manage outcomes, fix other people, or control conditions. Most of that effort is spent on the reflection. The cause is closer. The cause is your stance, the quiet story you hold about who you are and how life meets you. Invest in that, and you shorten the path. One clean assumption held with patience can do what months of forcing could not. One steady inner decision can end a loop that years of argument never touched. The world is ready to meet the best picture you can honestly hold inside. Reality is not against you. It is responsive. It listens for a clear lead. When you assume your worth and move from it, rooms treat you as someone of worth. When you assume guidance and move from it, ideas and timing find you in ordinary ways. When you assume provision and move from it, you notice channels that were already near you, and you have the courage to step through. Life meets what you bring. It is not guessing, it is mirroring. You are not here to beg for scraps or wait on permission. You are here to direct your experience by choosing your inner position on purpose. You are not here to hope things somehow work out while you keep telling the old story. You are here to assume a good end, live from it, and let the day align. The moment you take responsibility for your stance, you stop feeling pushed around by events. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You begin to act with quiet authority because inside the matter is settled. Your consciousness is the strongest force in your personal world because your world is, in practice, your consciousness turned outward. Change the state and the scenery cannot help but move. This is not a single dramatic moment. It is a way of living. Choose the end you will stand in. Keep your words in line with it. Keep your steps in line with it. When you wobble, return to it. The return is the muscle. Repeat the return until the new stance becomes your normal and the outside has no choice but to agree. Identity anchors everything. The person you assume yourself to be becomes the person you are. If you carry yourself as someone always behind and always late, your choices follow and so do your results. If you carry yourself as someone worthy, guided, and useful, your choices follow and so do your results. The life you assume you are living becomes the life you live. The world you expect to surround you becomes the world you start noticing and building with your actions. This is not wishful thinking. It is how attention, tone, and habit build a matching scene. Let your declaration be simple and clear so it can travel with you into busy hours. Say it now and say it slowly. I consciously assume my chosen reality, and my world arranges to match my assumption. Feel the calm in that. It does not shout. It decides. It does not bargain. It stands. When you speak a clean sentence like this, you direct your focus. You give your feelings a place to rest. You give your body a cue for how to move. You are not forcing life. You are giving life a steady instruction it can follow. You have been given authority over your inner world, and by that, authority over your experience. You can choose any honest, good end and live from it until it appears in form. This is not denial. It is leadership. It is choosing the cause and letting the effect come in its time. It is building the room inside and letting the guest arrive when the room is ready. You do what is yours to do. You keep your words and choices in agreement with your decision. You let time do its part without panic. Hold the core thought without dressing it up. The outside reflects the inside. Assumptions shape events. Your mind and heart are the place where tomorrow is picked. Rule that place with care. Choose simply. Return often. Let your days become proof. When the old feeling tries to take the wheel, answer once with your line. Breathe and do the next fitting thing. Confidence grows because you keep a promise to yourself, not because conditions flatter you first. From here, your life becomes quieter and stronger. You stop chasing. You start receiving what matches you. You stop explaining. You start delivering what you decided to be about. You stop calling the past to testify against you. You start setting new evidence in your favor. People notice. More important, you notice. You feel the weight shift from outside noise to inside choice. That is the moment the work becomes lighter. You are no longer moving furniture in a house with a cracked foundation. You have poured a new foundation, and the furniture finally makes sense. Stand in your place now. Take your seat in your own mind and keep it. Speak your line again and let it settle. I consciously assume my chosen reality and my world arranges to match my assumption. This is your authority. Use it kindly. Use it daily. Use it without drama. The thought that changes everything is yours now. The scene around you is your state made visible. Choose your state. Keep it. Let the rest follow.